Toucan Play That Game is proudly sponsored by NiceGameShop.com, the place to go for rare and unusual Asian games.
Hi, I'm Michael. Take a seat while I quickly tell you about Queendomino from Blue Orange Games. Now, this is the sequel to the Spiel des Jahres winner, Kingdomino. But I'm not going to treat it as if you've played Kingdomino, you know what that is. I'm going to tell you what this game is. Now, the way this game works is you'll be drafting terrain tiles. And the way this works is the tiles have numbers on the back. And you'll put the lowest number at the top, and then you'll flip them all over, and then players will take it in turns to pick a tile that they want to add to their kingdom. So I might go, oh, well, I want this one. And then the other player goes, okay, well, I want this one. I'll go, well, I'll take this one. They'll take this one, for example. You then flip over another row of tiles, again, that you've ordered from high to low. Now, this has done two things. First, it's arranged our turn order for the next kind of selecting. Whoever's at the top will be going first, and they'll take their person and they'll go, well, this time I want this one, and then they add this to their kingdom. Their kingdom will be, in a 4-player game, a 5x5 grid, where each domino, if you will, is made up of 2 spaces, which represents 2 different terrains. And when you're placing this in your kingdom, you have to place it adjacent to a matching terrain, or adjacent to your castle is allowed as well. Only one of the terrains you're placing has to match though. They don't both have to match. Once you've done this in Queendomino, this is where it differs to Kingdomino, because you've then got the choice to put out any knights that you have, which are these little black guys, and you place those on a territory to collect tax there. The tax that they'll collect is equal to the number of spaces in that territory. So you might have free wheat fields, for example, and you'd get free coins. Now, these coins will be worth points at the end of the game, but what they also allow you to do is buy buildings. But in order to buy these buildings, you have to have a space to put it on, which is where these new red spaces come in. These are your kind of construction sites. Once you've got construction sites, they're not going to do anything for you on their own, but once you've got the construction site, you can then purchase a building and build a building on it. Now, buildings might give you immediate benefits, such as more knights and even towers. And what these towers will do is attract the Queen's favour. And the Queen will make buying buildings cheaper, and also, if you manage to keep hold of her, give you extra points at the end of the game. You see, if anyone else gets as many or more towers than you, then the Queen disappears off and joins their kingdom instead. So you've got to keep the most towers in order to keep the Queen to get that extra scoring at the end. Now, the cost for these buildings is given underneath them. And what will happen is, as one of these is bought at the end of that round, not at the end of that person's turn, but at the end of that round, they then shift along. So the buildings become cheaper and new ones will come out as the game progresses. The other thing you can do with this building market is bribe the dragon, who looks a bit like an evil Elliot from, I think it's Pete's Dragon, it's called. Old 80s thing, and yeah, he can destroy one of the buildings in the market. So you can go, oh, I know that someone wants that building to fit into kind of their plan, it'll be really good for them, I'll pay 1 coin to get rid of that. But only one person can do that each round. Once someone's done that, no one else that round can do it. So it gives an extra incentive to be the person going first in a round, so that you can stop people getting the buildings they want. And then, of course, it'll be the next person's turn, and they pick a tile and they add one to their kingdom. And you just keep going along like this until you run out of tiles. Now, in a 2-player game, you're going to run out of tiles with building a 7x7 grid instead of that 5x5 grid. And that is the game. You then total up points. Your points are based on the sizes of your territories that are connected space. So if you've got connected meadows, for example, they're going to give you points. The number of points is dictated by the number of crowns. And you can tell how many there are of each different kind of terrain type, and also the kind of numbers of crowns on terrain types based on the back of the rule book. So that is Queendomino in a nutshell. What do I think of it? Well, I like it. I enjoy the mechanics of the drafting, and I really like how that drafting dictates the turn order. I think that's really good. I think the addition of these buildings compared to original Queendomino does generate some additional interest. It creates some additional paths to victory. It's no longer as simple as just making sure you're getting the terrain you want. You've got the then and making sure it's all grouped together, because you've got things where you'll get points for terrain if it's all spread out as well. So that can kind of change up how you play the game, how you place, how you think about how you're going to place, how you plan ahead, and how well you're actually going to do. So I really enjoy that it's made the game a bit meatier. However, that said, I'm now going to start comparing it to Queendomino. Queendomino was one of my top 10 games, and a big part of that was its simplicity, its beauty in that simplicity. It was an enjoyable, engaging experience that didn't last long, was quick and easy to teach, and quick and easy to get to the table. It was a filler game, a game you would just go, oh, we got 15 minutes while we wait for someone, should we play this game? This doesn't quite manage that. It's just that slight bit longer with those extra thoughts and decisions in, that it goes a bit too long for my taste to feel like a filler game. This is very much just Queendomino when you want to play for longer, where you want a longer, meatier, more decision point game, but you still want it to be Queendomino. And for me, that means I'll still be keeping it, but I still feel I'll probably play Queendomino more and actually enjoy Queendomino more, just because of how much easier it is to get it to the table. Now, an interesting thing that this does do is it acts as an expansion almost to Queendomino as well, because you can combine the two games. Now, this allows you to do a couple of things. Either you can play 5x5 grids up to 6 players, which does work. It does have a little bit of a downtime, but not a huge amount. Or you can do the 7x7 grids for 4 players. Now, me personally, I've always been more preferential towards the 5x5. I like the simplicity of that. And so that's less of an appeal, but being able to play it with more people definitely is a good thing. But as you add in more people, it takes longer, and it definitely is no longer a filler game if you do that. However, it's still not a difficult game. It still works as a gateway game to teach people. But really, if you're after a gateway game, I would say go for Queendomino, unless you feel that the people you're playing with are going to be easily bored by Queendomino. That's when you'll look towards Queendomino. So my overall thoughts, I think Queendomino is lovely. I will be keeping it. I will also be keeping Queendomino though. I will be combining them at times. I'll be playing them separately at times. There is enough room in my collection for both of these. They are so good. So I do hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have, please do check out the rest of my videos on the channel, as well as subscribing and sharing. And as always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.